What makes a video good? The first answer that came to my mind was if people enjoyed watching it, but then I realised that was a shit answer, as quite literally every single part of it was up for debate, because how many people needed to enjoy watching it for it to be good? Is screaming toddlers enjoy watching it? Does that make it good? What level of enjoyment do people need to get from watching it for it to be good? Is merely not being bored enough? So I set out to see if I could come up with a better answer. I mean, I just sat down and I thought really hard, but that doesn't sound as impressive. Now, some people, idiots, might claim that art is subjective, and therefore there can never be an objectively good piece of art. But what about The Last Supper? The general consensus of experts is that it is a good piece of art, which is probably as close to a universal truth as we can possibly get. Because art is an entirely man-made construct, there's no part of it that's beyond our comprehension and that we don't understand yet. So even if your mate Gary from down the pub says, "It's shit," there is no hitherto undiscovered universal secret to back up his claim, which has happened before with the natural sciences, and hence Gary's opinion can never invalidate that of the majority of experts. These same idiots might claim that I disprove the idea of The Last Supper being an objectively good piece of art myself, as I said it was reliant on the opinion of experts, and therefore, if their opinion were to change, so would the quality of the art. And that's exactly right. If there was evidence sufficient enough to completely convince the majority of experts that The Last Supper is no longer a good painting, I'd absolutely believe them. But like I said earlier, that's unlikely to happen given the nature of art compared to the nature of science. This led me to believe that it is possible to get a somewhat objective measure of the quality of a YouTube video. The only problem is there isn't quite the same academic interest in YouTube videos as there is for classical art. Now, I'm as lost as you are as to why there isn't, because clearly 6-7 is a more significant cultural phenomenon than the entirety of the Renaissance period, but we make do with what we got. And so, given that there are no experts, how do you decide whose voice to listen to when ascertaining the quality of a video? You could attempt to use the wisdom of the crowd to judge and assume that videos with higher view counts, like ratios, and comments are better. Just for reference, I will be counting thumbnails and titles as part of the video, because you should absolutely judge a book by its cover. That is what they are there for. But this has so many flaws. Firstly, where's the cutoff for a good video? How many views or likes does a video need to get to become good? And how do you differentiate between the opinions of drooling troglodytic gooners and connoisseurs like myself? What happens if it's like the egg thing that went viral way back and it gets more likes and views for simply having a lot of likes and views already, not because it's good? How much of a video's success should we attribute to the quality of the video and not the brand behind it? For example, if Mr. Beast were to drop a video with nothing but a black screen for 5 minutes, it would still get millions of views despite being a bad video. Or what happens if a video is divisive and very polarizing, like if it's about politics? Or what happens if it's intended for a very niche audience, like people who thought the final 2 seasons of The Boys were its best? Ultimately, I just don't think it's a reliable enough system to be a metric for what makes a video good. Next, I thought that maybe the technical proficiency of a video could be a good indicator of its quality, but this also has several of its own flaws. Once your camera and audio reaches a certain quality, it doesn't matter anymore because it's not the focus of the video. For example, if you did a realistic 2D animated talking head video, despite being multitudes of effort harder than just filming someone talking, the video itself will not be better in any meaningful way. I would just like to caveat that this is not saying that it's okay to recreate videos with AI because it achieves the same result, because AI art sucks. It reduces your involvement with the art and consequently takes the heart and soul out of the artwork. Also, I'd like to say, I'm not opposed to all forms of AI, just AI artwork. I have more I could say on the matter. That's not the point of the video. I don't particularly want to. So next, I thought maybe it's the idea of a video that determines whether or not it's good, because all the production value in the world cannot turn shit into solid gold. Without a strong idea driving the video, it's guaranteed to be bad. But I think the problem with this is it relies on too many factors outside the creator's control, and saying a video idea is good because the creator got lucky seems off to me. Although I've already established that I'm happy to believe something perceived as good can become bad given sufficient cultural shift, I am forced to accept that a good idea can change depending on the context. And in the online world, that is a lot more fluid and ever-changing than in the art world. And this brings in its own set of problems when determining whether or not an idea is good. Hypothetically, Let's say you post a video of making the world's fastest water slide, but unbeknownst to you, just 20 minutes earlier, someone had posted a similar style video with the same premise. The only difference is their water slide is a bit faster, and so nobody cares about your video anymore, and his goes viral. How do you rate your video idea? Would it be good because it went viral, and if you'd just been one day quicker, you would have seen the same success? Or would it be bad because ultimately it wasn't the fastest water slide, even though you had no way of knowing that while making the video? Or what if somebody sees that first video and thinks, I can make a better video, and so does somebody else, and so does somebody else, and then everybody's jumping on the trend and it becomes very popular, thus pushing up the popularity of your own video? Does that make the initial idea better for inspiring such a trend, or does it remain the same level of good despite becoming even more successful? How do we define that risk? Obviously, it's easy in hindsight to judge an idea as good or not, depending on how successful the video is, although, as stated earlier, success doesn't necessarily mean good. For my most successful video, I had no clue it would do as well as it did. So does that mean the video was always good, or did it only become good because people watched it? Ultimately, I think the best way to reconcile this is to accept there is no guideline or formalized set of rules defined over hundreds of years by generations upon generations of artists and experts to determine what is good and what is not, because shit is happening far too quickly. And so I shall propose my own set of rules instead, and they are that there are two different types of video ideas. Ideas solely to draw viewers onto the video, which are good if they succeed and get people to click, and ideas that possess an interesting or engaging insight or approach to doing something, which is a lot trickier to define as good. Now, these two can overlap, and obviously that's the goal for a lot of people, to achieve a healthy balance between the two, but not always. Some people are in it solely for the views, and some people don't give a fuck about the fame and just want to express themselves online. And I'm going to throw out a statement here and say that any video that exists for the sole purpose of getting views is not a good video. I'm just going to take a moral stand on that, and to anybody who wants to disagree, bite me. While I do agree there's definitely some murky water as to what constitutes solely in it for the views, it's going to be impossible to prove the intent behind a video in a court of law, so I'm trusting you to use your judgment when deciding. So, for videos that try to bring something new to the table, what makes them good? Obviously, the virtue of being new isn't enough. There's a reason no one's posted video of themselves raping a cat. I've not checked this, and I'm not going to, just in case I'm wrong. Initially, I was thinking a lot about authorial intent. If it fulfills the author's goal, then it's good. But what happens if someone were to hypothetically create a satire of toxic masculinity and were to call it, let's say, American Madman, and then it became popular with those who failed to realize it was a critique of the behaviors they sought to replicate, causing the video to achieve the exact opposite of its intention? I would argue it's still a good video, even though it didn't fulfill the author's intent, because it's not the author's fault that some people are idiots. And again, there's the whole issue of unknowingly replicating someone else's idea. Your new and unique insight isn't so new and unique if you're the second person to have it. So I don't think whether or not the video fulfilled the author's goal can be used as a metric or whether or not the video is good. And I must admit, I got a bit stuck after this as I had run out of ideas to explore in relation to the aspects of a video. And then I realised I don't need a definitive answer. It's philosophy. If I came up with one anyway, people would just disagree. So I decided to focus on myself and come up with an answer that I like the sound of and just leave it at that. So I did. And thus, I have determined a good video is defined by what you put into it. As I said earlier, art should be full of soul. And if you put your heart into a video and you're proud of it, then it's good. And this also fits in with my preconception that any video made solely for the views and not for the love of the game is inherently bad as well. So it's a double whammy, really. I hope that made sense to everybody watching and not just me. Thanks for listening. And for all those people who want Better Than Wolves Part 2, it's my channel. I do whatever the fuck I want.